This show is a Phonic Media production.
Today on the podcast, we're going to talk about the fact that I'm now a marathon champion. Well, I'm not the champion, but I've done a marathon. Hit him with the tagline.
Hey, friend.
Hey, friend. How are you? Hope all is going well. It's been a little while since we sat down and recorded last time. We had a massive argument, didn't we?
Huge argument.
Had a massive argument.
Halfway through the podcast that ended up in us arguing over something that we never meant to even argue about.
No.
You got
I got
your
the right
knickers in a
half.
twist and was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
No.
And I was like,
put all the
fair
gear
enough.
away, dragged it all out at like
Luckily, we
10
had a
o'clock at night.
backup because we had some amazing stuff happen with
Rob Deardeck.
our pal. I say it's not our pal.
Our pal
but you
Rob
know what I mean,
Deardeck, our best mate
Deardeck,
Rob.
we'll take it.
Didn't put that clip out, did he? Not that good a friend. Anyway, there you go.
Moved on.
C'est la vie.
Anyway, so today we are talking about the marathon because
That's
yesterday
literally-
was the London Marathon.
Hang on a second. Can you, if you're going to talk about it,
Okay.
you need to let me know
We
you're
need
going to say it.
We
You
need
ready?
the theme.
Come on.
Do it.
We're
We're going to talk about the London Marathon. Yes. And the crowd go wild.
Guys, I don't want to think I'm a big deal, but if you're watching on YouTube,
Look at
yes,
this,
that's
everybody.
that is
the
solid
sound of
gold.
success.
solid
That's
gold,
not
whatever it is.
That is definitely not gold.
Isn't this a bit of music, though? They play this before you run. Oh, I felt like I was going to cry.
We've been playing this all week in our house, haven't we?
I walked down the stairs one step at a time this morning. And Hayley had this blasting at 6:30.
The kids were like, get over it.
Yeah, I think they're over it now. Their teacher was asking me the time today, though, so I think they're going to talk about it. I might give Louis the badge to
Did
take
you
to
see
show and tell.
He had a teacher at the school that was running as well.
She's
Did you
got the
see
day
her?
off.
Oh,
She's got the day off.
legend.
Yes, so yesterday I officially became one of the 0.07% of the world's population to run a marathon, 26.2
And
miles.
I have to say, the
Fuck my
support-
life, that's a long way.
The support for you has just been absolutely amazing. Like everyone at the school,
yeah.
all our friends,
Thank
all
you,
your
everybody.
kind of like business connections. You raised, what was it,
£4,070, yeah.
£4,070.
I had to raise, so I did it for an amazing charity called Dreams Come True. And
Shout out.
as the title suggests, they literally make the dreams come true for seriously ill or terminally ill children. And it might be like random stuff, like a kid in a wheelchair might have never been to the beach, they'll buy like a beach wheelchair, or it might be that someone wants to, they've got a dream to be on the radio, so
Yeah.
they'll get them into like a radio studio, whatever it may be.
Amazing.
And the CEO came in to use our podcast studio because she was a guest for one of the podcasts we produce. And we got chatting, and that was how the whole thing came about. She's like, oh, well, if you want to run for us, you could run for our charity. I was like, amazing,
And
let's
you
do
had
that.
said how much you wanted to run.
Yeah, I
the
said that I
marathon,
wanted to
hadn't
run.
you?
Yeah, that's how the whole conversation came about. She said, oh, yeah, the only thing we ask is that you can raise £2,000. I was like, well, that can't be that hard. But when you're about 6 months out, if you're asking people for money that far out, like
No one's
no one does it.
interested.
They always do it in the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
like week. So I was on about £900 for weeks, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And there's a couple of weeks ago, I thought, if I need to, like I could just top out for the company. So either way, I'm going to get to the £2,000. But then a couple of my clients who've got quite deep pockets are lovely people. They're like, I intentionally messaged everyone on WhatsApp, did a WhatsApp broadcast. I just spammed everyone. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't give a shit whether
That
I've spoken
person.
to you in the last
Yeah.
10 years. You're going to
Hello,
get,
I
you're going
want
to get
your
this.
money.
And some random people came out of the woodwork to support, to be
Yeah.
fair. But a couple of clients, and I said in the message, if you could spare a few quid, that'd be great. And a couple of them went, yeah, I've spared a few quid, and they got me to the £2,000. Between two of them, they give me like
Pretty much.
750 quid.
But aside from that, you had lots of other donations as well.
Yeah,
Wasn't just
I think
that?
it was like 90 odd donations from people.
Amazing.
Which is amazing.
I love it. And then it's just everyone's been asking, how's he getting on? And then you got a bit injured, didn't you? So you were really worried leading up to it.
Yeah.
The
So I pulled my
manifesting
hamstring.
of like, oh, all I have to do now is not injure myself.
So we
And
talk
the
about
next
manifesting
day-
on this podcast, and
Injured.
somebody said to me
Yeah.
on the Friday before, so 9 days out,
Yeah.
how are you feeling about the marathon? And I said, good as gold. And this is what came out of my mouth. The only thing I've got to do now is not get injured.
And what happened?
What happened the next day? Got myself injured.
Put it out to the universe.
Fucking manifested it,
And
didn't
you
I?
had pulled hamstring.
And I pulled a hamstring.
Then you thought you
bad
might have
hip
sciatica.
flexor.
Then you had a bad back. We've had emergency sports massage. It was all go, go, go. And it was like,
I mean, I couldn't
oh my
run
God.
for the last week as well. So when you've been running like about, what have I run? Probably 40 kilometres a week for the last 5 months. To not run all week, I was like, this is really weird.
Yeah.
So you get to the starting line and like, you've
Oh.
done no exercise at all in
So
the best part of 10 days.
So it's funny because on the morning.
Long story short, guys, I smashed it, didn't I?
Smashed it. What was your run time? 4 hours.
4
9
hours,
minutes.
9 minutes and 58 seconds.
Absolute legend.
Just double the world
But
record.
you ran the whole way.
Ran like a fucking gazelle, I did.
And you started off at what? 3 hour 50.
I was following the 3:55
So
paces.
like, considering you've never done that amount before,
And then half
that's great.
Yeah, I also got to the point where I realised that within my training, I probably should have done a few more longer runs. So I got to 32 kilometres, and I was like, I've never gone beyond this point. But then you've still got another 10 kilometres to go.
Super committed. We've spoke about it before on the podcast. You had an app that was giving you all the training. But
Damn
there
right,
were
I had
like
an app.
There were 2 times, wasn't there? There was one you got injured and you actually just couldn't do anything. And then obviously before Christmas, we moved house. And so that was like a massive, I'm sure that was
No,
like
I got injured then as well.
I
I done my calf, yeah.
So it's funny because like on the day when you went there before the race started, you texted me just going, thank you for putting up with me and all the training. And I'm laughing. I'm like, yeah, it's real hard on me. Real hard to have an excuse not to be able to go to the gym because there's just no time for me. It's all for you, James. Now I'm like, holy shit, I've got to do 2 sessions this week and I'm now already freaking out about it. But as someone who's watched you, like, I've found it real fascinating. Like, you are someone who, once you put your mind to it, you will go for it. But you just did it. Like, there'd be like an evening where you hadn't been able to train in the morning and you'll be like, I've got to do a 2-hour run. If it was me, I'd just be like, fuck it. I won't
You
bother.
just can't,
Whereas
though.
you're just
And I can
right,
see now.
I'm going to do it. And I was just fascinated at how hard you train. So when you got injured, it was that horrible feeling of like, oh no, like you've worked so hard. You don't want to fall at the
someone
final
said to me
hurdle.
last week, you can defer it. If you get injured, you can defer it and
really?
you get a guaranteed place for the next year.
Okay.
And I was like, there's no
You're like, I'm
fucking
doing
way
it.
that
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. Or there's no way I'm going back through this training again,
And I said
having
to you,
run
didn't
for
I?
5 months.
I said, do me a favour. Remember, it's about finishing it. So if you're not racing anyone, so if you have to walk and you have to do that, just do it. And you were like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. And you didn't.
And I didn't. I ran the whole thing.
But what was funny is
You do learn a lot about yourself. You hear all these like analogies like, oh, you'll hit a wall and you'll get in a dark place and
Well,
then
we're
you'll
gonna
learn
come
about
onto that in a
resilience and
minute.
all
We
that
are.
stuff. And it's so... Like all of those analogies you've heard,
Yeah.
they actually come true.
we're gonna come
but
on-
no one can tell. It's like having kids. No one can tell you how tough it's going to be
until you
you're
do
in the
it.
moment. Then you're like, oh shit, this
Yeah.
is what everyone was
This is the
telling me
whole-
about.
Right, we're going to come on to that. But before we get into the actual race itself,
Yes.
I just want to talk about like the pre-race nerves and almost like get into your head because you seemed quite excited, but excitement can be like nervous energy as well, can't it?
Well, this was your pre-marathon chat with me.
Pre-race, how you feeling?
I don't do nerves, but if I did, I'd be bricking myself.
Oh my God, I feel more nervous than you. Boys, what do you want to say to Daddy?
Great luck. That's not a thing.
George,
Double great luck.
We'll see you at mile 17.
Bye, everybody.
Good luck.
Bye.
Love you. I honestly was so nervous
Great luck.
all that morning, and I was like getting really stressed out, like with the kids, because I was like, I just that nervous.
I imagine it's
feeling.
worse to watch it than to be the person.
But I
well,
don't even
probably
know what
not,
I'm nervous about. I guess you're thinking, I hope you're like, you do the cool, you don't injure yourself, don't hurt yourself, that you do it okay. But also like the sort of 24 hours leading up, this is James. He's got these little bum bags a bum bag that he's putting all his bits in, and he's got 2, and I've got the responsibility of like giving it to him on the changeover. And you were just like, right, have I got everything? Right, do I want this in there? And like for the 24 hours before, that was kind of your thing. It was almost like you didn't know, have I got the right stuff in here? Do I need this water bottle? Do I need more liquid?
when you've never done it before,
Yeah,
right? You just don't know this stuff. And I've read loads of blogs, I had loads of different advice. I had Paul at work I was running it with, and he had like one bunch of advice. I've got a pal of mine called Alex, and he's run a few. He's done London and New York. He's supposed to do London again this year, but he injured his knee in January, so he can do it. So he was telling me some stuff. Then I read some Runners World blogs, and
then Billy had done
it, done Brighton the weekend, the weekend or a couple of weeks before. So you get all this information, all this advice, but then you've kind of, again, it goes back to like with kids, you know, you get advice from everyone when you're about to have a baby.
You have to work.
You just
out
have to kind of like work out the bits you want to take.
But I was more worried because you had specifically.
You also just want to do it at that point. You just like,
Yeah,
oh please,
exactly.
I just want to.
Like,
the day before felt like the longest day ever.
But you had said all along that people said that there's these gels that you can use, but do not use them on the day if you haven't tested them out because they can make you basically shit yourself. So I've got this.
Through the eye of a needle.
I've got this thought of James just running, having like
all Hayley cared about was
coming down his legs.
Every time I talked about my kit bag, she's like, "Have you got some spare pants?
No, but his
got some
whole-
spare pants." I was like, "She's like, what are you gonna do?" I was like, "Well, I'll shit myself if I have to shit myself."
I said, "Do you want some baby wipes?" Do you want to put some baby wipes in there? And then he offered some nappy sacks as well, just in case you did shit yourself.
Could have got some tenor, man.
That'd be nice in the see-through bag, wouldn't it? But then all of a sudden you came home like a few days before and you just like had all these fucking gels and I was like, what are you doing?
But I did use a couple of them.
I know you did.
I did use a couple of them.
I was a bit like, uh-oh.
It's the weirdest thing.
This is a mistake.
It is one of the weirdest things that I've ever done.
Yeah.
And because you just don't know until you get into the moment of what it's going to be like.
Okay, I want to go. I want to go there.
Do you go there?
Yeah,
I'll take
I want to go to Blackheath where you start. I want to go to the start line. I want to go to the start line. So as you arrive, and they're like, obviously there's loads of people. And like, what happens? You talking to anyone? Are you just on your own?
People,
like,
everyone does it all a little bit
Yeah,
differently.
yeah.
Like you see the ones who are quite, who are running at a good level, they kind of like get themselves in a zone. They've got their headphones on. They're running around, getting themselves warmed up and all that stuff.
Are you warming
There's a
yourself
lot of
up?
people. Not for the first, because I was there quite early.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got to Blackheath and it's heaving and it's just thousands and thousands of people all walking to do the same thing. Like fucking, and it's like young and old and
I know.
fit
That's what
and
I
not
find
so fit and
fascinating about
like
it.
runners clubs that are there
Yeah.
together, and then because it's only the runners who are allowed in Blackheath at the starting area.
Right.
So by the time you sort of get into that, it was so well organised. I've got to say, shout out to the London Marathon.
Well
it was
done, yeah.
so well organised. You turn up. Bear in mind, there's 65,000 people. You turn up. I was like, oh, there's your truck to go and put your bag on. You put your bag on. They're like, oh, this is the time you're going to run. There's loads of toilets. Here's some waters. Here's some stuff. Good luck. Stay warm. Here's some music and entertainment. And it was like clockwork. It was
And would it feel
absolutely
like forever
clockwork.
waiting to actually go? Or did that go
No,
quite
so that went quite fast, mainly because of the gel talk.
Yeah.
So I was like, how many poos can I squeeze in before I go? And obviously as well, like not to get too grotesque about it, but you have to eat a lot of food to
Oh
fuel.
my God.
But then you don't want to be full to run, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, because you'll get a stitch. So I'd eaten like porridge, banana, bagels. I'd had
Mirabelle
a coffee.
gave you a free
Mirabelle
oat bar.
gave me like a flapjack for running. So I had some of that before
The
I
day
kicked
before,
off.
James was like, I've got to just eat so many carbs. So he was carb loading and I did it with him.
You
So
did, yeah,
I
thank
ate
you.
a whole garlic baguette and a massive bowl
We
of
had so much
carbonara.
food on Saturday
Oh
night.
my
We
God.
carb covered ourselves. We
I
went to
was
bed at
wetting
like 9
myself.
o'clock, didn't we?
I was like, this is brilliant that I get to just go on this journey and not do any of the exercise with it.
But it was, and then when I was in there, as I say, they've got a mixture of people. Like some people like on the floor asleep, like just just lying there like relaxing.
Yeah.
Other people, some people are obviously like really nervous. I got chatting
Oh my
to
God,
a guy.
I would be so nervous. I'd be
just
throwing up.
Yeah.
I'd be like really, I'd have like dry mouth, nerves.
It was weird though because you knew
I just couldn't do it.
it was such a good vibe.
Yeah.
It's like I can't describe what it's like being around 60,000 people all about to go and do something epic. It was.
And you were saying about the actual experience of realising like, oh my God, what's the word I'm saying? How good to be able to like run through London when there's no traffic and you're running past all of these amazing
running
landmarks.
down like Greenwich and
It's
through the
like-
Cutty
and,
Sark.
you said Greenwich was like a great atmosphere.
Greenwich was really
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
The cheering is honestly the whole. I mean, there's a couple of like just because of like lack of pathways or whatever. Like when you go into the city, there's a little bit of a lull.
Yeah.
But it's tiny. It's probably for like half a mile, if that. The rest of the time, it was definitely
so many
loud.
people. So I went with the kids, and then our best mates, Gary Kelly, their two kids, and then my niece, Olivia and Connor, who are on the podcast.
Oh yeah, podcast famous
So
people.
we were all going, and I couldn't even. The week before, we were working out plans where we were going, and I couldn't even handle it. I was like, I don't know why. I was like, I couldn't handle the pressure of like, where do we go? We thought we were going to maybe sort of follow you around the course a little bit, but we realised that actually with like small children,
there's
just need to
750,000
go
people
somewhere.
out on the course yesterday as well. So getting around is a lot.
I've only ever had an experience when I was younger. We used to go to Greenwich, and of course, like, I don't know, it's probably a lot not as busy back then, but we used to park somewhere and then go into the park and be there for most of the day to watch it. We went once, didn't we, to Greenwich, and we just sort of like meandered down and just kind of watched it.
That's when it was just the two of us, which is obviously a lot easier.
Last year we went to Woolwich, where it's real like starting, wasn't it? And that was quite quiet, but we didn't want to be too near.
That's where the idea came from.
Yes,
that's what I remember. I was like, I'm going to run this next year.
And we loved it, but it was quiet. So we said, well, we don't want to be there because it's too early on.
The vibe is good there, though, because everyone's got so much energy.
I did say that.
And I didn't realise that's also where the two meet. So you have like 30,000 in each pen.
So we did think about going to Woolwich and then going, but then we decided, you know what, we don't know what the commute's going to be like. And oh my God, we were laughing yesterday because our day, we didn't run a marathon. We were just kind of getting around London and we were all shattered. It was so funny at the end of it.
On the train on the way back.
He's like done 26 miles and we're all like, oh my God, my legs ache, my back.
Gary's going, I held that sign up for about 25 minutes.
So we went to Mudshoe and we'd read that that's a good place. So we got on the train and the DLR, got to Mudshoe, and actually it was really easy because the road was like right there.
Yeah.
But we kind of were on this hill and we couldn't really see, and it was like, oh God, you know, you're like not happy with where you're at. So we moved down a bit, and then luckily a few people moved and we got a little spot, and the kids sort of like sat down and they were so good as gold.
Bless them.
And they were doing like the high five. So when we went to Woolwich, remember, because that's what I noticed. So Woolwich, you're starting out, everyone's high energy, high fiving. Oh my goodness, mile 17 was like completely different. People are starting to look like, okay, I'm tired now. Like even when you're calling their name, most aren't even like engaging with you. But you do
to start with though. You're like I must have high-fived like 10,000 kids to start with, and then you get in the zone. You're like, I actually just need to keep all the energy to.
Yeah, I can imagine.
To just get it done.
So we had a banner made with like two kind of like broomsticks, and it was so funny because we knew that you were going to be running with the 3 hour 50. So it came, we're like, right, okay, like let's put the banner up. But of course that went on for like 20 odd minutes or so.
It's really weird. Like, there's also like a couple of, for the popular times, there's a couple of the pace runners who are doing it in so it's like sub 350.
Right.
So I don't know if they've got like a couple of minutes between them.
Right, okay.
But it's really odd because you kept seeing lots of people run past like, am I still in the same time zone here?
So Gary and
At one point I
Connor
didn't know what fucking planet I was on,
holding up this banner, and then they have to keep swapping arms because like their arms are aching.
Oh, bless them.
And Olivia was like, I was like, oh God, is that Simon in heaven? She went, James is running 26-mile marathon. The least they can do is hold a sign up. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. But it was so good. We had like orange and purple balloons to match Dreams Come True charity. We got this big banner because we just wanted you to see us. I know we had to exchange like your drink and that kind of stuff. But I was like, imagine if the kids didn't see you. And it was amazing. And it was like, we just saw you running up and there you were.
That is one of those things where you'll never forget it. And that I've got to say, like all of the people who come out and support, because there was, after a certain point, there was jelly babies and there was cut fruit and there was like slices of orange and watermelon.
So amazing.
People had bags of Haribo, and it was just like so nice for everyone to come and do it. But when you see, when you're running, if you see someone else see their family, you're like, oh, that's amazing. Yeah. But then when you see the people that have come to support you, it's like taking 10 of those gel shots all at the same time.
I remember just staring at you, like it was so surreal. Like you were there, like been waiting for this moment, and then you were there, and I thought I'd cry, but it all happened like so fast.
Quick,
and you were there, and I was like, right, I've got to give you this stuff.
Then I left my fucking phone in the other bag, so I had to come back down the pavement.
We're like, oh my God. Luckily, where we were though, you could run on the pavement because some have got the barriers, and then you came back. But I was like, I just remember almost like staring at you in almost more disbelief that you didn't even look like you were sweating. It was so bizarre. We was all just sweat, like, you didn't even look knackered. Like you were just like, hey everyone, but like that hug, like the hug you gave to the kids, I was like, oh,
14. The miles,
video. I don't know if 14, you can hear the audio.
I haven't got the audio. No. So miles 14 to 17.
Yeah.
I started to get a bit tired there, but because you knew you were waiting for people.
Yeah.
Like that was actually the best place, because if you'd have been right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And right at the end, that whole like 3 hours in the middle would have been really hard. Oh. But knowing that you were going to be at 17.
A bit further.
And by that point I hadn't like used any of the gels. I hadn't used my headphones.
Hadn't shit yourself.
Hadn't shit myself so far. I was turtling a little bit, but I managed to squeeze it back. like a little toffee.
Do you know what? We should share that video out on Business Marriage socials, because the video of you coming along, hugging the kids. I just love it.
But I hadn't even, when I got to 17, it wasn't like I was trying to style out like I felt good. I just felt good.
You just felt amazing. You looked absolutely amazing. We were just all like, you know, we'd got like a train and a tube, and we were all like absolutely knackered.
The mile after that, it changed significantly. And
you went into the dark hole.
I went into the dark hole. But this is before. So I actually got an Insta video live, and you could hear the crowd cheering. Yeah. So this is mile 17, after about 5 minutes after I picked up the stuff from you guys. I'm still elated from that. Okay. And just before 18, where my knee just decided it didn't want to bend anymore. So this is what the vibe was like at 17 to 18. Just after mile 17, the support has been unbelievable. That's how loud it is the whole way. Absolutely unbelievable. Just got out to one of the 750,000 people who are standing on the sidelines, happily cheering. Thank you. In a tough moment, it definitely helps. Right, see you at mile 26. But that sort of like cheering noise is like the whole time, and there's certain other people. So there's the people who dress as rhinos. Yeah. There's some soldiers who obviously get massive rounds of applause. There's a guy who had done the marathon with a fridge on his back.
We worked out yesterday as well, the big fish that you were like going, come on mate, you can do it.
Go on, fish. Joel Dommett, yeah. From I was like, oh, that looks like the thing off The Masked Singer. Yeah, it was the presenter of The Masked Singer. But stuff like that, and there's a lot of people in. It was this year they were trying to do like a big inclusive. Big push for inclusivity. So I think there was 200 people who were pushing chairs as well.
Wow.
And so if you were like with them, the roar from people. So they must have had that the whole way around. So we didn't. People have said to me before, like I was actually too loud at certain points.
Really?
It is so loud. You can't. It's being screamed at for 4 hours. It's amazing.
It was a very different experience watching the marathon when you're waiting to see someone, because being honest, like before, you're just enjoying it. Yeah. Not that we didn't enjoy it. It was amazing, but it's like all we cared about was seeing you. Yeah. Does that make sense? So like, I don't know, because as soon as you left, we kind of moved on, because we were like, oh, we can totally, if we get on the tube and we go to Limehouse, which was like 6 stops up, we can see you at mile 21. But of course, we had no real way of telling you. I was texting you, but you weren't obviously getting it. And we went to Limehouse. We left Mud Chute, which was fairly easy to get to. It was busy, but not too busy. We'll go to Limehouse. So we got there, and oh my God, it was called Rainbow Row, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was so lively. It was amazing. It was heaving.
It was a big LGBTQ community,
they
wasn't
had this huge orange like bus, didn't they? Like coach that was blaring
Could you see
music.
that? Because they had like 6 drag queens like performing at the top of the bus.
Yeah, we could just see it.
And
then
brilliant.
It was heaving. So we kind of went there, and we were like, we couldn't get near the front. Like the kids couldn't see. Yeah. But Connor had like George on his shoulders, and we were there.
Oh, did he?
And as we got there, we already saw 350 runners. So I said, oh my God, he's going to be here any minute. And they kept changing the side of the road that you were running so that people could cross the road. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
And they changed it so you were like further away, and we were like, oh God, I don't know if he's going to see us. And all of a sudden it was like mental. We just saw you, and you said you hadn't got the message. You wasn't even looking.
I was listening to music by that point as well.
And I think we were under like a bridge.
Yeah.
So we all screamed, and I think it almost echoed.
Yeah, I must have heard you, because I wasn't.
And we had the banner, and then you looked round, you just saw us. Yeah. But you looked really like. A bit like,
because I didn't expect to see you there.
Yeah, and we were like, and poor Louis, he couldn't see a thing. He was down there. I meant to try to get him, just didn't get there in time.
So 80, again, I mentioned it earlier on, that whole like analogies that you've heard about like hitting the wall. It was real bad.
So are you talking to yourself? Are you just in like
I can't even describe it.
It's
almost like an out of body experience. Really? Honestly, it was. So I put headphones on pretty much straight away after I'd left you guys. I was like, right, let me just try, and I felt good. I was like, let me just keep trying to feel good. I hadn't listened to any music, because the crowd is, you want to hear the crowd, you want to enjoy it, but I was like, I need something else to focus on for a bit. And then after mile 17, it was up a bit of a hill. I got to the top of the hill at 17, and then at 18, I felt good. Had loads of energy. I'd fueled quite well so far. Every time I felt like a little pang of hunger, I'd eat something, because that was the thing. Like when you feel it, then within 2 minutes, you're starving, and then you run out of energy so fast. And then just out of nowhere, my knee just went, and I was like, oh fuck, because my my hip flex, because I've been pre-compensating all week because of my
Yeah.
hamstring, my hip flex was really tight on my right-hand side. I was like, oh, this is going to cause me a problem. So I think I'd probably been putting too much pressure on my knee. You see some really weird runners out there. There's like one guy's like running almost like sideways. Like, how the fuck is this guy even... And I think he ended up going past me. I was like, how's that guy going sideways going past me?
Oh, gosh.
And then, my knee just went, and it was like... It just felt like it was on fire.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to... And it was like, normally, if you're out training on a training run, you would stop and phone a cab and get dropped off home. Like, you're not going to carry on running on that. But I was like, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And then I was thinking, right, if I slow down or if I start walking, I think I'm going to really struggle to keep going. And then I was also, because I was in the city, so there's lots of stuff and there's lots of twists and turns. You go through Canary Wharf.
Is that better when it's twisty and turny, or...?
It's more... Yes, because you're not looking so far ahead. And one piece of advice I heard was, and I never got to this stage actually, if it's that hard, just look one lamppost ahead.
Right,
Don't keep thinking, keep thinking. So I got to, 18 to 21 was quite bad. Then I seen you guys, that gave me another sort of little boost. And then there's a point of it. So I got to, 21, and then it said, but at 21, I suddenly had the realisation, fuck, I've got another 5 miles to go here. But then for whatever reason, I think I had a gel, and then I was good as gold again. I was like, oh, brilliant. So I'm like so I'm good again for another 2 miles. Got to 23, and then my hip flexors started going again, and I just got back in the hole. And I was just like, I ran down the back of Embankment. I ran down like over through Tower Bridge. The crowds are massive. I could not remember anything about it. I was just keep putting one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. Then I started like, oh, how much longer have I got to run? I was like, stop thinking about that, stop thinking about that. Then I was like, right, stop thinking about the kilometres. So I stopped watching it. My watch was buzzing, telling me every kilometre. I'm like, I'm just going to ignore it. And I just kept going and kept going and kept going. And then the 4 hour people. So I started at 3, I think I started at 350. I thought I was going to start with the 3. Oh, sorry. I think I started with the 355s.
Oh, okay.
So I tried to keep up the 350s. I did for half. And then 350s sort of went, 355 came and went. And then the 4s came through in Canary Wharf.
Right.
And I was like, is she got a fucking rocket up her arse or something? Because she can't be pacing 4 here. Because I'm still going as far. My legs would not go any faster. I could not tell my body to go any faster.
Because you ended in 4.9, didn't you?
I did end in 4.9, yeah. So she was spot on. Obviously, she's a pacer. So I tried to keep up with them for 2 or 3 miles, and then that sort of started getting like, because you can see the flag, and it gradually got a bit further and further and further, and then that I was like, right, at about 23 miles, I said, right, drop your ego. You're not going to do this in under 4.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares if you do it under 4? Now you've just got to finish it. Because now my knee had come back at this point. My knee just stopped hurting at one point. I was like, oh, that stopped hurting. How long ago has that stopped hurting? Am I still running? And I was a bit like, what the fuck is going on? I've had people messaging me, so I saw you about 22, you look fucked. And I was like, I actually was. So 23 to 25 was a bit of a blur. 24, the charity was out sort of like cheering and stuff. So that was kind of cool because you were sort of expected to see them. So that keeps you focused. 25 to 25, I then took my headphones back out because I was like, I just want to hear the cheering for the last mile. That last mile, I think it went on for 17 hours. It just felt like I was running in treacle, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Then so I'm running along the embankment.
Isn't there a bit where it was almost like running like treacle because of all the Lucozade on?
Oh yeah, so the Lucozade. So they give you Lucozade, but they give it to you in cups. So you basically just throw Lucozade in your face, and then you're just like covered in yellow sticky shit. So then I got to the end. So I'm running to the end of Big Ben. So Louis goes, "Oh, did you run past Big Ben?" I went, "No, I didn't go past it. Fully did. Just can't remember."
Oh my god.
So I got to the end of Big Ben. I was like, oh my god, I've got to go through all of Hyde, but like you've got to go around the back of St James's Park, yeah? I'm like, that's a fucking long way. And then I'm like, just keep going. And then I'm sort of saying to myself, for the last 2 miles, I'm like, just don't stop. Because there's so many people stopping by this point. Or so many people who are walking, they're doing walk and run and walk and run. I was like, just for whatever purpose, I just want to say, I've run the whole thing. Run the whole thing. If I can't do it in under 4, at least you can say that you've run it. So I just kept going. And then, 600 metre sign. I was like, oh, amazing. And I had these grand visions, like in the last bit, I'm going to have like a fucking burst of speed. I'm going to come around the back of Buckingham Palace, and there's people there going, okay, not far to go now. Buckingham Palace is just on your left-hand side. I was like, I couldn't give a fuck, honestly.
The person who sat there all day.
All day long,
Not too far now.
And then there's the BBC cameras are over that bit, because obviously that's a big moment. And everyone's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, fuck, you can't be bothered.
Our mates saw you on the news, didn't they?
Yeah. But I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to have a burst of speed and come in like really strong, because there's like people like bombing it down the mile, and they're like, okay, you go 200 yards to go, keep going. And I was like, I just want to get one foot in front of the other. And if you see me on the news, I look so disinterested as I come past all these people.
Don't
But
care.
that was the weirdest bit because you come through the. Like you're in front of Buckingham Palace, there's
Yeah.
no one else there, so you get to like enjoy the whole view of it, sort of thing. But then when you come into that like the tunnel, you've only ever watched it on the TV before, and I was like, "How cool is this?"
And when you stopped, your legs just like...
Yeah, you want to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say to you, "Don't stop,
No, I was going
like
to say,
keep
'cause
moving."
it must just be... And
So-
everyone puts those like foils things.
Yeah, which you can't believe, like the heat that comes off that. It's basically to keep you warm, because
Yeah.
else you get too cold too quick. So you go through the tunnel, and then there's probably about 100 meters, 200 meters before
Yeah.
you get your medal, and they tell you to keep walking, and then they're handing you the foil stuff.
What a great experience.
But my leg, when I stopped and went to get the medal, there's like two fences, and I'm sort of like using the fences like crutch. I'm like, how on earth did I just do this?
You came and met us after, didn't you?
Yeah, I felt fine.
So do you know what? It was so funny.
I don't feel fine
like
today.
going on the experience of the spectators. Our friend Gary reckons we had it harder looking after 4 kids in London.
You might be right, to be fair.
Poor George. Like, luckily Olivia came because she was like Louis' chaperone. I had George, and it was so busy. But to be fair, the organisation of the DLR and the trains was phenomenal.
Yeah, they reckon it was a record. I heard him on the radio again this morning, the guy who organised it, and he said it was a record-breaking year.
It was phenomenal. There was no, like, you know, sometimes the platforms are so crowded it's really dangerous. Like, they didn't do it like that. So when we was at Limehouse, obviously for our little second stint, it was super busy. Everyone then decided they needed to go to the toilet, and round the corner they had all these kind of like food stalls and stands, and they had loads of portaloos. So we queued for a long time, all went to the toilet, which was a bit of luck. So we go in the station, walk straight in, and then we see this group come walking out, and I was like, oh, where are you going? They were like, oh, apparently we've got to use the other entrance. Oh my God, it was comical. So we walked round the side, and our faces just dropped. Like, you've never seen a queue like it.
Miles of traffic.
It was like, I mean, it just went on and on and on. And then there was a bridge, and the queue just kept going, and we were like, oh my God, this is
Then
going
didn't
to
Louis get
take
halfway
us
down the queue and
ages.
say, I need a poo?
Oh my God,
And
so-
Gary's like, you're going to have to hold it, son.
So yeah, so we were looked at maybe walking to another station, but the next one was a mile, 27-minute walk, and we were like, we might do that and then have the same thing. So like, let's just get in the queue. But what they were actually doing, they weren't letting anyone, they were only letting almost like a platform up at a time.
Oh, you're right.
So
okay,
even
yeah.
though it looked horrendous,
It moved quite quick.
moved quite quick. But yeah, we were getting near to the station, and Louis goes, Mummy, I really need a poo. And I just looked at him and I went, mate, you're just going to have to hold it in. And the woman behind's wetting herself. I was like, no, seriously. Like, I'm going to him, sometimes when you need a poo, if you just like hold it in for a bit, you'll be fine. And then George is like, Mummy, I need a poo too. And I was like, yeah, both going to have to hold it in. Or I'm thinking they're just going to have to poo themselves. Like, and then at one point I'm looking over in the corner going, could I take him there? But there was nowhere. Do you know what I mean? It was just this like pavement. So luckily they held it in. But then we got on the train, and it was just so busy. Poor little George, because he's so little. His whole day has just been like dragged on here, sit there, go there, and like poor little thing. They were so good. But we finally got on the central line, and it was like George was like down here, and everyone was just full on. But no,
And
it
just on the
was
backs of everyone's
ages.
knees all day,
So by the
bless
time we actually got back to Charing Cross, you'd well and truly finished, because we were tracking you on the app.
I'd already got
So
there.
in the queue, I'm going, let everyone, Daddy's finished. And we were like cheering. You phoned me. I was like, yeah. But by the time you got your medal and that, we all met, didn't we, at Charing Cross. And I missed all of the gossip, going and getting a coffee. And then I come out, and then, you told everyone what was going on.
And then
missed it all.
we went and had
Oh
a
my God, we had a burger.
post-marathon burger at Gordon Ramsay's Street Burger.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Shout out to
actually.
Gordon Ramsay. He probably doesn't need any promotion from this podcast, but
Probably doesn't.
They were brilliant. They
Probably
managed to
doesn't.
seat 10 of us, and because I had a medal on, I got 20% off.
I know.
Which I thought was a
that
really nice little touch.
Really
that.
nice.
Supported. Oh, I've got a post-marathon report. Because they say you've got the elation of doing the marathon, you want to do it again. Didn't happen for me.
Think about where you're putting your foot for every step. And then 23 came. I was like, I'm in a bad way again here. So you try to get the gels, that's the only thing that you've got. And then the gels are like acid.
Do you think you'll do it again?
No, never. A whole lot of
Like,
elation.
he'll get to the end and he'll be so elated.
Yeah, want to do it again.
Standing queue, stand long.
So Gary is not willing to stand in queues again, and I'm not willing to do the running again. So there we go. But what a day out! What a day out!
So good, such a great. If you've never ever been to watch the London Marathon, it is such an experience.
Just as a spectator, it's good, isn't
And
it?
actually, like where we were in the Isle of Dogs area, when we were getting the tube, we were almost like we could see it down below. Do you know what I mean? So we were like, that was amazing as well. Just seeing everyone running. Oh, it was just so good.
But before we decided before we were going to finish this podcast episode, we decided we were going to do a. We were talking before. You're like, we'll do a small business shout. So Hayley's like, TCS, who sponsor it? Who is TCS?
So I've been at the London Marathon, right?
This is interesting though.
It is interesting. So I've been at the London Marathon. I've seen James's T-shirt.
It's my badge.
I've watched it on the news.
Oh yeah.
And all I see everywhere is this TCS, right? And I'm sitting there last night and I went, I don't even know what TCS is. And I went, they've probably spent a lot of money to sponsor the whole of the London Marathon.
So the small business shout out, remember, is TCS.
I do not know. So I'm laughing, going, who are TCS, James? And then I was like, oh, here we go. Tata Consultancy Services. I'm thinking it's like, what is this? Some sort of like, I don't know, some random sort of, I don't know, finance company or something.
I've looked it up.
Yeah, who are they?
So Tata Consultancy Services are one of the offshoots of the Tata brand.
Right.
And they are the richest family in India.
Wow.
They started off in steel and they now do all sorts of other stuff.
Okay.
They are worth, their market cap is 17 trillion rupees, which comes to about 155 billion pounds.
Oh my God.
So today's small business shout out is for TCS.
TCS.
Tata Consultancy Services. If you want some consultancy from...
I'm sure your money was really well spent. I'm sure it was.
I bet they have got £1 billion a year CSR, corporate social responsibility budget. And
but
they
wasn't it? It was just funny that I'd seen it everywhere and I was like, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, there you go.
So...
I'll tell you what else it was a good day for. Fucking Nike Vaporflies, which are these like Vaporflies are like these band trainers. They were going to have them in the Olympics. They're like, they're too springy. They're basically like having like the spring of a prosthetic leg in shoes. Fucking about half the field was running in them. My mate Paul had some. Yeah. He's like, mate, I feel like I've got the legs of a gazelle.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah,
why didn't you get those?
I didn't need them, did I? I smashed it.
Legend.
Smashed it. I feel like I smashed it today.
You just wore your old pants, your old trainers.
At least I didn't even my spare pants anyway. That's all you cared about, wasn't it? But yeah, these Vaporfly, they've got this bit of metal in them so that which doesn't bend. So it literally springs you forward.
So if I get those, would I be a runner?
Yeah, it'd be fine, yeah.
So I could probably run the marathon then?
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't even bother training for it that hard if I was you.
I will get into the hole from like the klaxon of the word go.
You be the hole before you
start.
Running,
walking.
You get from Blackheath Station and get to the start.
My question was actually, could you walk the marathon within the allotted time? And you were like, nah.
You'd have to speed walk it, I reckon. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you were out and about yesterday, if you're one of the 750,000 people who went and supported people on the marathon, honestly, when you're in the hole, the cheering makes such a difference. So thank you. Thank you to the guys from the London Marathon. Thank you to Tata Consultancy Services.
And well done to Dreams Come True Charity.
Yes.
We hope you raised lots of money.
They did loads of money. And we'll be back next time around when hopefully my legs feel a little bit less like 2 bags of glass. Goodbye, everybody.
This show is a Phonic Media production.